Hello! In this video, we are going to prove the following lemma. Suppose S is a subset of real numbers, and U is a real number. Then U is the supremum of S, if and only if the following are true. For all elements T in S, T is less than or equal to U. And 2, for every real number V, if V is less than U, then there is some element T in S, such that V is less than T. Now, before we get into the proof, I would like to remind you guys the definition of a supremum. Well, the definition we're going to rely on is, well, given a subset of real numbers S and a real number U, we say that U is the supremum of S if the following are true. 1 is that U is an upper bound of S, which means for every element T in S, T is less than or equal to U. And 2, for every upper bound U prime of S, U is less than or equal to U prime. So essentially, this tells us it means that U is the least upper bound of S. So now, let's prove the lemma. To start our proof, let's give ourselves an arbitrary subset of real numbers S and an arbitrary real number U. And our goal from here is to prove that U is the supremum of S if and only if 1 and 2 hold. So we're trying to prove a statement containing if and only if. So what we're going to do is we're going to prove if this is true, then 1 and 2 are true. And then we're going to prove if 1 and 2 are true, then this is true. Let's start by proving if this is true, then 1 and 2 are true. And to do so, suppose this is true. Our goal from here is to deduce that 1 and 2 both hold. Now, since U is the supremum of S, we know by definition U is an upper bound of S. What does it mean to be an upper bound of S? It means for every element T in S, T is less than or equal to U. And that is precisely what 1 says. So we've proven that 1 holds. And so all that's left to show now is that 2 holds. And to prove statement 2, we're trying to prove a statement about every real number. So give me an arbitrary real number. I'll call it V. And to prove statement 2, we want to prove if this is true, then this is true. And we're actually going to prove the contrapositive. That is, we're going to prove if this is false, then this is false. So let's suppose that this is false. What does it mean for this to be false? Well, we're negating a statement that's about existence. So the negation of the statement would be, for all elements T and S, V is greater than or equal to T. Our whole goal from here is to deduce that this is false. In other words, we want to prove that V is greater than or equal to U. Now, currently, we have that for all elements T and S, V is less than or equal to T, which is equivalent to saying for all elements T and S, T is less than or equal to V. Therefore, V is an upper bound of S, because for V to be an upper bound of S, it would mean for all elements T and S, T is less than or equal to V. And that's exactly what we have here. Now, going back to the fact that U is the supremum of S, we also know that fact number 2 holds. That is, for all upper bounds U prime of S, U is less than or equal to U prime. So, since V is an upper bound of S, we can replace U prime here with V. And we have that U is less than or equal to V. So we've proven that U is less than or equal to V, which means we have proven that this is false, which is exactly what we wanted to prove. So if this is false, then this is false. By the contrapositive, if this is true, then this is true. So we have proven that 2 holds. So we have proven that both 1 and 2 hold, which means we have proven if this is true, then both these things are true. So that completes the proof of the forward. Now let's prove the converse. That is, let's prove if these things are true, then this is true. So suppose 1 and 2 hold. And our whole goal is to prove that U is the supremum of S. And we're going to do so by showing that U satisfies all the requirements in the definition of the supremum of S. So first, let's show that U is an upper bound of S. Now, since 1 holds, we know that for all t and s, t is less than or equal to U. However, this statement is precisely what it means for U to be an upper bound of S. So all that's left to show in order to prove that U is the supremum of S is that this second part holds. We want to prove for all upper bounds U prime of S, U is less than or equal to U prime. Since we're trying to prove a statement about every upper bound of S, give me an arbitrary upper bound of S. I'll call it U prime. Our goal from here is to prove that U is less than or equal to U prime. Now, since U prime is an upper bound of S, by definition, we have that for all t and s, t is less than or equal to U prime. Now, since 2 holds, we know that this statement is true. And this statement works for every real number, so it must work for the real number U prime. So if we take V and replace it with U prime, we have if U prime is less than U, then there exists t and s such that U prime is less than t. But wait a minute, we have just shown that this statement is false. In other words, we have just proven that for all t and s, U prime is greater than or equal to t, right? For all t and s, U prime is greater than or equal to t. So since this is false, we have by the contrapositive too that this must be false. In other words, we have that U prime is greater than or equal to U. And so putting this together, we give ourselves an arbitrary upper bound of S, U prime, and from there we prove that U is less than or equal to U prime. Right? For all upper bounds U prime of S, U is less than or equal to U prime. So we have proven that the second part in the definition of a supremum holds. So U satisfies all the requirements to be the supremum of S, so U is the supremum of S. So we have now proven if these two are true, then U is the supremum of S. So we've proven both directions of the if and only if, meaning we have proven precisely what we wanted to prove. So this completes the proof. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for this video.